anything I can find to block the wind and cover the top over me so that the snow doesn't get at me. There we go. I've been putting my legs on the warm rocks. Certainly a good survival setup. Hi, I'm Greg Ovens, and this is Ovens Rocky Mountain Bushcraft. Morning. Oh, I sleep so good in this hammock. I know you guys always like the overnight survival videos, and before winter's really totally over here, this is what I want to do. I'm still seeing where people are dying of exposure just overnight, not prepared again. They obviously haven't watched my survival video where I always say bring a lighter. I'm going to do this challenge without anything except a lighter, because there's other tricks that I can show you as far as how to survive and the importance of carrying a lighter. So no food, no water, no shelter, no bedding, no knife, no ferro rod, no coffee, no marshmallows, no popcorn, just a lighter. Looks like it could snow though, so it's getting windy. Maybe I didn't choose the most ideal day to do this, but in a survival situation you can't choose the weather. So we'll see what kind of shelter we can come up with and what kind of survival situation we can come up with as far as keeping warm. And I think you're gonna like this. There's some tricks yet that I have up my sleeve. I will feed Finley before we go. I can't expect him to go hungry just because I'm willing to go without food. I can't expect him to do the same. So we'll head out from camp here. I'm gonna go up into the mountains a bit where there's nobody really around, and we'll get this survival video underway. And that's all I'm bringing for our overnight. Oh, you're already sitting. You want that? Okay, stay. You have to stay. Stay. Just a minute. Okay. You have to eat up because we're gonna go overnight, Finn. Survival challenge.
I wanna wander out of the valley where the river takes us far away from home. Time to ponder in the fields around me, where there's nothing but the breeze and the great unknown. Leave your worries and your suitcase. All you don't need, nothing but you. So don't throw your stone away.
Snow's still deep here. Sinking through, breaking through the crust.
Nothing around us, just flames in the fire. And through the night they burn like me for you. Covered in wonder,
I'm gonna try to find a spot out of the snow.
and your suitcase. Oh, you don't need nothing but you. So don't throw your hopes, start wishing well that your heart's desire carry you.
This is a neat tree right here. It's leaned over, but then obviously the branches grew, two of them, into the other tree parts. Pretty cool. This would definitely be a really nice shelter tree because you could just make a lean-to on both sides, run poles and make your shelter under this big tree that's leaning over here. It'd be just ideal. But I don't really see what I'm looking for so far. Basically, I want a big rock I can heat up with my fire, use it like a hot water bottle all night, and try to build a debris shelter. You know, my favorite bed of all is the raised moss bed with the hot rocks under it. But I've already done that video, so I want to show you other ways in a survival situation that you could get by, survive the night or 2 nights or whatever. So that's what we're doing in this video. But yeah, when I see trees like this, I just feel like staying and building a shelter here. But that's not what this video is about. It's about the hot rock overnight situation with a really nice big rock. So we'll keep looking. I almost start drooling when I see that. It was hard to leave that tree. But I mean, I'm gonna go back maybe when it starts raining and make a real neat shelter with that tree, because that's like perfect. Perfect. And like I always say, I mean, underneath a big tree like I've done before, it's the best place to build a shelter, but that was ideal. I'm not seeing what I'm after here really. Some of the rocks are just way too big. Now you can see the size of this rock. It's just, it would take forever to heat up. Probably have to have a fire there for a month before this one would be hot. You know, something else I always look for if I'm going to spend a night, or if you're in a survival situation, is look for good amounts of firewood. And I see we're getting into a spot that has quite a bit of fall down. But you know, even if you weren't able to build a shelter for the night because you, for whatever reason, as long as you have a fire and, you know, maybe a big hot rock, which is what I'm looking for, you could get through the night just cuddling up beside a hot rock. You got to keep these things in mind, and every situation is a little different. We got quite a bit of snow, and it's going to be probably -5, -10 for sure. So you definitely would need a fire, or the chances of making it through the night without a bedding and, you know, with a proper shelter that would hold the heat, you wouldn't make it through the night likely. So this is about the size rock I'm looking for, okay? And I kind of like this because I do have a tree. I can make my shelter. No, Finn, I'm talking. But the only problem is to have a big enough fire to get this thing hot enough for the night. I've got this juniper bush too close. So, keep looking. And I have to watch also the type of rock I want to use. This is the kind of rock that's going to explode. Shale type. And you've seen in other videos, when they get hot, they just blow up on you. So I'm just looking at these two bigger rocks here. And if I get rid of this tree, I'm thinking if I had a fire in between these two hot rocks would be better than one. It might be the type of rock that wants to crack, but I don't believe it'll blow up. So I suppose it might break in pieces. But unlike that shale that's actual pure shale, it is a shale type rock. But I don't think it's going to explode. I think if anything it'll crack. This is about the right size. And I can make my bed here, my shelter here. And I think we might get away with this. So first thing to do is get a fire going, get this out of the way, collect some firewood, and start building. Yeah, I can get this out here. Might be a good thing for my shelter even. If I can get it up over here without it breaking. But it might break. Yeah. See. I want to collect a lot of firewood too before dark. We've got a little crotch here. I can run a pole. I mean, it's good because I want to keep my shelter low in case it snows or rains. But if anything, it's going to snow. It's not going to rain. And it's actually a lot easier to build a shelter that'll keep the snow out than if it's raining. Rain, everything gets wet. A debris shelter to keep rain out, that's a different ball game altogether. Probably take a while to heat these rocks. This is a unique piece that might be handy for, I mean, it's great firewood, but I can maybe use it for my shelter somehow. This is a chunk of ponderosa. This ponderosa fell over and this was the branch from it, I'm assuming. That's a nice piece. I mean, it's great firewood, but it might come in handy for the shelter. And here is where it broke off of. I can see that this used to be a branch to this old dead snag that fell down. Looks like a big root, but it was actually a branch. Well, be either handy for the shelter or the fire. I guess not. Oh well, burn it in half. Get a whole whack of wood here. Look for the firewood, Finn. Well, it snowed like crazy for about 5 minutes. And but now the sun came out, so it's interesting how quick things can change. It looks like it might be sunny for part of the day, but we could get snow tonight. I'm kind of hoping we do, so that we can show you how the shelter works. Nice piece. See, the problem with not having an axe or a saw is you just basically have to collect the wood you can pull out of the ground, trees you can push down. This will burn for a while. If you're burning all night, you go through a lot of wood. I see something here that you got to watch for around your camp. This tree It's just hooked on a little branch and it's not even secured. So the wind could knock this off and fall on Finley or something, and it wouldn't take much. Like, it wasn't attached, it was broken at the roots and just hanging on a branch up there. So just check around your camp and make sure that there's no widowmakers, they call them, that could blow down and fall on you or your shelter in the nighttime. I don't know if I get it under here, if I can break it. Yeah, 1, 2. Well, I rolled the big log away. Oh, it broke down there. I'll just start burning some of these in half. It's going to be a debris shelter, and basically what that means is anything I can find to block the wind and cover the top over me so that the snow doesn't get at me, or rain, but it'll snow if anything, not rain. Rain shelters are kind of a different ball game. That's when you want to build the shelter under a big tree and do it a little differently than a debris shelter. Debris shelters, if it's actual rain, tend to leak, but I'll have a perfectly adequate shelter for keeping the snow out. Now we're on the shelter. I just want to find holes either broken off, leaning against. Nice size, this one. I'll just collect a bunch of these. Pretty easy to get these ones that are rotting out. Some of these poles are just broken at the roots and just leaning against stuff. Like, that's how easy sometimes it is. This one's definitely long enough for 2 poles, so we'll burn it in half. So I want to put some kind of cross brace here to put my poles on. I want to keep it low. I got to have a way to get in to the shelter when I get it finished, but I want it fairly low, and it's close to this rock, which is starting to heat up. I feel warmth about halfway, so it's going to take long. I mean, it's very hot there, but it's warm about halfway, so it's going to take a bit of time yet. I don't want it too close to the fire right now. So I am ready to start putting stuff on top of my poles to keep the snow out. I was looking at this rotten log here, but there's still chunks that I can probably take off. Like, that's a big long piece. Pretty rotten, so I'm getting good materials. Definitely will be able to keep the snow off. So just start laying pieces like this, and I will stay dry. It'll be cool. Just fits together like a jigsaw puzzle. Just a matter of figuring out the best spots for your debris where it plugs the holes the most. The good thing is this stuff is like almost frozen, not frozen, but wet enough that a wind won't blow it away. But now I've got my emergency hot rocks. I'm going to block the backside of this little lean-to. I will be dry, make it windproof from the other side, and the heat, if the wind's coming this way, will blow the warmth into the shelter. It's going to be great. I'll sleep fine, even without a blanket. I found another stump, but this is more solid. It's not really rotten. So now I can just take chunks of the bark to lean on the back side, and that way I can keep the wind out. We'll just put a bunch of these on the back side and block the back off. Right on. Just a matter of keeping them tight enough that it's going to completely block the wind. Yeah, and even this ponderosa, when I was trying to split logs, loosened a big chunk of bark off. It's going to be awesome. I mean, I love these kind of projects. I really do. See how rotten that is inside. And I can just probably kick the bark off. Hopefully. There we go. Good dry powder for bow drills. So the last thing for me to do now is to try to find some ponderosa pine. Hopefully a big one where I can put some needles down to sleep on to keep me insulated from the cold ground. That's the last part of this, but I notice it is cooling down, so it must be getting later in the day by now. But I'll try to find, this is all pretty much fir in here, and any of the ponderosa are pretty tiny, so I'd like to find a big one where I have enough needles for what I need. There's some needles here. There's a big old ponderosa that fell down here. Big chunk of bark here. Maybe I can put some needles in. Okay, along this ridge we've got some bigger ponderosa. I love these ponderosas. That's a neat one. And they're dry underneath this tree. I carry more than one handful this way at least. Some more needles. Sometimes they tend to poke you, but it's still better to get off the ground. You can deal with getting poked once in a while by the needles, but you're gonna get pretty cold lying on the frozen ground. Well, it's not really frozen, but cold ground. I'm going to be warm, I'm going to be dry. Got my emergency hot rocks in case the fire goes out. The rocks will stay hot all night, so this is cool. And I was thinking, who wants to hear a story? I know you do. I hope I haven't told this one before. But anyway, one of the many times that I got stranded out in the wilderness, and I didn't even have a coat that time, but I did the same idea with the hot rocks, but it got dark. I didn't have time to build a shelter like this. So basically I just slept beside the hot rocks all night. But the one thing I did have, you're guessing, I did have my lighter. So I was able to get a fire going, heat up some rocks, and basically spent the night beside the hot rocks. But the rocks were really hot, and I must have slept too close to the rocks, because I got up the next morning and man was my arm burnt. I'll show you, that's that scar that you see on my arm. Might have to show you a different shot of it. But yeah, I basically slow cooked my arm. this big scar. And it was so bad that pieces of flesh and skin were hanging down around my elbow, and it was just like raw and burnt flesh and skin. It was just brutal. So, you know, it's okay if your rock is warm like it is now, but if it's too hot, don't lean against it. Make sure you stay away, because man, you can really burn yourself. I mean, it was just terrible, terrible the next day. Yeah, it's actually hard to believe that I wouldn't have woken up leaning against those hot rocks, but I don't think I was actually touching them. I think basically it was just maybe an inch, 2 inches away, but it was just enough heat to slow cook my arm. But anyways, beware. I think we're getting what we asked for. It's starting to snow. So this might be cool. This is actually really good because I wanted to show you, you know, just how efficient this type of a debris shelter can be for the snow. Well, that's good enough for me. Tired. Fire's not too bad. See if I can crawl in here. I think so. Barely. Then, it's bedtime. Go to bed, please. Not a lot of room, but got my. Ooh, it's hot right there. That's hot. It's perfect here though. I can go like this. Yeah. This actually will be pretty good. Hey Finn, where are you gonna sleep? You gonna lie down here? There you go. Good boys. Okay. We'll see you in the morning, Fins. Well, the fire's out, but I got the rocks, and I'm kind of wondering where Finn is. But you know, he's pretty good nowadays. He just sticks around camp wherever I am. Finn! Finn! Yeah, he's around here somewhere. Anyway, I still got my hot rocks. And it's all going to be good. They're still warm to the touch. Pitch black out. Oh, blew my lighter out. Just trying to talk here and I blew it out. I'm pretty comfortable, and blew it out again. But anyway, like, I'm warm. I got my safety rocks. I almost gotta be careful how I talk to the camera because I keep blowing the lighter out. But that's all I have. I didn't bring a light for the camera. I'm very comfortable, but it doesn't look like it's snowing, but it is cloudy. And if it was clear out, this would be a lot colder for sure, but I'd still be fine. I've been putting my legs on the warm rocks once in a while. It's not windy, but I'd have my windbreak and I'm good. Like, seriously. Like, it's working out good. Certainly a good survival setup. The rocks are going to stay hot all night, and we're going to be just fine. So, I'll see you in the morning. Morning, guys. So, it looks like we got snow. It's dry under here, though. I was warm most of the night, The fire kept going for quite a while. I had to roll over a couple of times. I wish I would have made the shelter 6 inches higher. It's pretty low. I had to roll over 2 or 3 times because you get cold on the other side of you, obviously. And let's see if our rock is kind of cooled down quite a bit. Like, it's a little warm, but it's not. If I would have got up in the middle of the night and put some more wood on the fire, but I didn't really feel like it because it's the shelter's so low to get in and out of. So if I would have made it higher, then I would have had some incentive to get up and actually put some wood on the fire. But anyways, I'll crawl out of here. Comfortable. I wasn't cold like on the ground. And most of the night I could feel the heat coming from the fire on the rock. Didn't blow in from this side. And dry underneath. So it did its job. At least we got a skiff of snow, so you can see that the debris shelter did its job. I wish I would have made it a little higher, easier to get in and out of. Then I could have kept the fire going and I would have been a little more comfortable. But let's not put the debris shelter down. It did its job. So next time I'd probably put a log at this end and just get it up enough that I don't have to struggle to get in and out. So thanks for watching. I hope you learned something and appreciate the videos. Sometimes I try hard to make things interesting. I hope you enjoyed it. One more thing, Finn has become so good around wherever I have my fire or my camp. He's always within 100 feet of the shelter or fire. He just doesn't seem to go anywhere. He's just sitting up there on the hill with a stick. Finn's has got a stick. He's got a stick. First thing in the morning, you got a stick, eh, Finn? You like your sticks, don't you? Eh? Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Shelter worked awesome. I'm going to be building a lot more shelters this year so you can see different methods, different ways. Sometimes what it amounts to is what materials do you have on hand. So there will be a variety of other shelters coming up this year that I want to show you as well. So thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you on the next one.